All right, I want to get into the responses we got from the last couple of videos. Let's start with this one here. We answer this question, I think, in almost every video, but let's do it one more time. The jury's job is to determine the truth. They get to, as a collective, decide who to believe and who not to believe. When I see text walls like this of evidence, analysis, and it says, why don't they believe what I believe and ignore everything Meg says? It is your exclusive right to determine whether and to what extent a witness should be believed and give weight to his or her testimony accordingly. That's what we tell juries. We also tell them, if you find that a witness has deliberately testified falsely to an important fact or deliberately exaggerated or suppressed any important fact, then you may reject the testimony of that witness except for those parts which you nevertheless believe to be true. What does that mean? It means you as an observer can overemphasize or underemphasize testimony. It means you can believe one witness over another, but it means the jury does the same and their decision is the final one. So when I see a wall of text here that says, I don't care, what about this person said, what about what that person says, this doesn't comply with that. All it says is the jury didn't find credible what you found is credible. And the source who translated to you from inside the courtroom, what they reported to you as being credible testimony, what a witness says, the jury found that wasn't credible the same way you did. Okay, let's do this. Would you want a jury to be able to believe you even if there were 30 other witnesses calling you a liar? What if you didn't remember part of what happened, or things move so fast? Maybe you got the specific order or color or sound of something wrong. Maybe one person punched you, but you didn't realize it was another punched person because it was from the side of your head. We want juries to have the leeway because humans are not perfect memory relating machines. DNA is not perfect. We know that from OJ. That's 30 years ago now. This case was very clear. This is how the jury decided. There's not at this stage, there's not a question as to how or why the jury decided the way they did. Megan told a moving story that the jury believed. Kelsey was dismissive and avoidant on the stand. And then they played audio of her previous interview where she explicitly blamed Tory and said the same thing Meg said and explained again very clearly what happened, what she remembers as happening. And then there was a third witness who came out and testified differently. And he testified differently based on who was asking him questions. He answered the prosecutor questions very differently than he answered the defense attorney questions. And if you read, depending on which news reporter you read, they all answer differently as to who's credible. But get this. So each reporter from their own seat can determine who they think is credible and who they think is not credible. But get this. Each juror also perceives differently. So if one reporter said shot in the air and pointed straight up, and another reporter said shot in the air but pointed at the people, and they related it differently to you, the jury gets to make their own decision from where they are seated about how they judge the witnesses' tone, face, credibility, consistency, all of it. And then you have no alternative explanation as to what happened from a Tory Lanez witness. There was no one in court who put forward a series of alternative facts for him to claim self-defense. There was no alternative shooter promoted. That was all suggestions outside the court or outside the realm of what evidence was placed before the jury. Meg put the gun in Tory's hands. Kelsey, on a recorded audio statement, put the gun in Tory's hands. Kelly, the witness, either put the gun in Tory's hands or was inconclusive about it. No one said Kelsey shot Meg. No one said Meg did the shooting, at least not in front of the jury. And you're not allowed as a juror to make up facts you did not hear. You can come up with a reasonable conclusion or a reasonable understanding from the evidence that came before you, but you can't just make up a fact that you did not hear. So everything you write in the wall of text doesn't explain how Meg gets shot with facts that appeared before the jurors in the court. But Meg got up there, Kelsey's audio, both explained how she got clearly. That's how you get to no reasonable doubt. It's really not that complicated. What people are suggesting as far as you take a little bit here, you take a little bit there, and there's some disagreements as to what the ultimate outcome is. That's what I call the Thanksgiving method of legal defense. And it doesn't really work for a jury trial like this, especially not one of this magnitude. I hope that answers your question. I hope that comes to you, but that's how they got to reasonable doubt. Thank you very much.